Hello cherry lovers, I'm back and today I'll be sharing with you my famous homemade chicken noodle soup. The only difference today, I will be showing you how I can my homemade chicken noodle soup. So stay tuned. Okay guys, as I said, today I'm going to be sharing with you my homemade chicken noodle soup. I've got all the ingredients over here which I'm going to share with you in just a few moments. But first of all, I want Larry to hone in on this pot. This right here is my chicken stock. This is the stock that I use to put inside of the jars once I fill the jars. And as you can see here, we've got this jar layered with celery, carrots, onions, and then chicken. I haven't added the chicken stock here, but I'm going to add that. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that step by step. Now, also let me just say I did a prior video and I tried to go through much of the steps in using a pressure canner because I looked at a lot of videos and I didn't get a lot of explanation about how to do that when I was first starting out to do it. So if you want to see a video that has the directions from step by step, comment down below and let me know. I was intimidated, so a lot of you probably intimidated about doing home canning, but it's not that it's complicated. Trust me, it does not take a rocket scientist or I wouldn't be doing it. It's really simple, but it just takes work. But it's so worth it. You've got your own vegetables. You've got ours, like ours, we used our own garden. They're all organic, no pesticides, pesticide free. So it's really nice to know exactly what's going into your canned vegetables or your soups or whatever it is that you're making. The video that I made prior to this one was pinto beans, canned pinto beans, and that was my first time making it, and the pinto beans turned out amazing. So let's get started. Okay, back here we have the lids and the rings in this pot. The water's not boiling or anything. It's just nice and hot. I've got it on one, and this pot right here is it's simmered a little bit. It's hot. The stock is all ready to go. Over here, I have in each individual container, and I'm going to show you what we used. On the bottom layer is celery. It's 1/2 cup of celery, and then 1/2 cup of carrots, and then 1/2 cup of onions. And you put each one of them in there, your onions, your carrots, and your celery. And in this container is actually 2 cups of chicken. It's all shredded, it's all cooked. It came out of the stock, so it's already ready to go. And that's what's inside of this jar. Now, if you would like to also see a recipe showing how I make my chicken stock, it's the same chicken stock that I use on my homemade chicken noodle soup. And there's a video if you want to go and watch it. But this is the same stock. So I made this stock. If you want to see a video of the chicken stock that I made, the total ingredients and how much, you know, leave me a comment down below and I will make a video for that. But we are going to get started. I'm going to get my jars. They're over here in the sink and they're all getting ready. So let me grab one of them. They're nice and hot. I'm going to put this over here and we will begin with adding in. First of all, I put in the celery. Remember, this is 1/2 cup of celery into there. And then the next is 1/2 cup of carrots, right on top of that. And then we have 1/2 cup of onions right on top of that. And then we have 2 cups of shredded chicken. And remember, this chicken is already seasoned. When I cooked it in the chicken stock, it's nicely already seasoned. Everything is added in the stock, so I don't have to put any other seasoning into this jar. And we're just going to fill that up. There we go. Now, that's all set. What I'm going to do here is add in enough chicken stock to bring it to 1 inch below this ring. And 1 inch, let me just stop and do this real quick. 1 inch with this little measurer, 1 inch is right there. And it always measures 1 inch around. And 1 inch basically is just below this line. Just below that line is your 1 inch level. So we want to continue filling our jar with the chicken stock. That's 3. Let's see. Okay, so it'll take just about, because I had one that was a little less, it'll take just about 4 scoops, depending on what you're using. And one thing I did forget, let me grab some paper towel. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is clean off the jar. And remember, there's a point to this. It's not just to dry the jar. It's to make sure that there's no liquid around here. And you can use, I've seen people use vinegar. You can use vinegar, or you can just dip your paper towel or your cloth, your towel, into some water. And just make sure that that lid is nice and dry. And back here we have our rings. And we have our lids. So we're going to take that out. And we're going to put that right on there. And then we're going to finger tighten. That's not real tight. It's just twisted on there, and drop that right into the pressure canner. And it's really just that simple. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to take and do another jar for you and show you how simple that really is. Let me get one more jar. The jar right out of the water. Okay, again, we're going to begin with the celery on the bottom. Drop the celery in there. Then we're going to add in carrots. And I'm sure it doesn't matter which order you put it in, but this is the order that I put it in. Then we put in a 1/2 cup. Remember, each one of these is a 1/2 cup. 1/2 cup of celery, 1/2 cup of carrots, and 1/2 cup of onions. And then we add in, on top of that, 2 cups of shredded chicken. And that brings it just about to the top with the 2 cups of shredded chicken. Okay. Now we have our chicken in there. And the next thing we want to do, put this out of the way, is get our chicken stock. And this chicken stock has a lot of really good seasonings in it. Again, it comes from my recipe that I got a video out, homemade chicken noodle soup. It's really, really, really good, especially this time of the year. I need to slow down. I'm spilling this. Okay. Take that right up there. Okay. Take that out. We're going to clean off the lid. Remember, the purpose in cleaning off your lids is to make sure you get a good seal. Okay, now the next thing is, which I did not tell you on the first jar, but I'm going to take that jar back out and show you that one of the important things, don't forget this step, is to go in there and move this around so you can take out all of the air pockets. Now I'm using this little wooden stick. It works better for me because it's small and you can go around the edges, but you don't have to do it a lot, just 3 or 4 times. You can also, most people I've seen use this right here too, push it on the outside of the jar. 1, 2, 3. That's all you got to do. And then remember to wipe. Make sure that your edges are nice and dry. Use water, use vinegar, whatever you need to use to make sure that that's dry. And next, our ring. And our ring and our lids. And place that on top. And finger tighten that. Okay. And you may notice in this video that some of those are wide mouth and some of those are actually the regular size jars, and that's okay. Okay, we're gonna do one more. Just to show you how simple it is. Okay, so we're gonna add in our bottom layer, which is our celery. Next, we're going to put in our carrots. And next, we're going to put in our onions. And we're just kind of layer that up there, real simple. And the next thing we're going to do is add in our 2 cups of chicken. It's really simple, guys. Like I said, I was very intimidated. For a long time, I wouldn't even attempt to do any canning. And then I decided to get a book out and start reading. And I told Larry, I want you to go and try it out first, and I want you to read. And he did, and so I did too. And then I realized how simple it was. Yes, it's work. Again, as I said before, it is so worth it. But that's what you get. You got your bottom celery, carrots, and onions, and chicken. It's so simple. So simple. Just takes a little bit of tender loving care and time. And I'm going to try not to spill this time around. This broth is delicious. It's got just what I wanted. And if you made chicken noodle soup before, you have your own recipes, and you can use whatever you use in your stock. Or you can even buy the actual chicken stock in the carton containers in the store. It actually comes in organic, however you want to do that, however you want your chicken stock. And you can buy the chicken stock in the store and then season that if you want to with your own seasonings. Okay. We need to get, oh, that's right. I need to get want to get the air pockets out. Now, some things are you have to get air pockets out, but this is real important in your soups, because you want to move that chicken around. You want to move the vegetables around so you can get all the air pockets out, and you can get that broth moving through there. And again, you can use this. I like the little wooden stick, but this is just as good. And after you do that, you want to make sure you clean off the mouth of the jar. You want to clean that off. You want to dry it off. You want to make sure that there's nothing prohibiting your seal and lids from sealing onto that. And then we will take that, put that on, finger tighten, voila. And we'll put that right in there. Now, again, guys, if there's anything that you want me to make, comment down below. Or if there's a video you want me to do on how to step-by-step use a pressure canner for a particular recipe, let me know that also. Or again, if you want to learn how I make my famous, very simple chicken stock for my homemade chicken noodle soup, or chicken soup in this case, because there's no noodles in there, because you don't want to get your noodles in there and then make it all mushy. So I'm just thrilled with the idea of canning. We got a lot of vegetables out of our garden this year, and we've canned so many jars. I've canned over at least 160 pounds of tomatoes this year. Tomato soup, spaghetti sauce. So if you want to take a look at those videos, go and check it out. Feel free. Make sure you like and subscribe and share. And leave me a comment and let me know you stopped by. Okay, guys, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. If Larry would hone in right here. You see this right here? This is a funnel. It's very old. It's been in the family for, I think Larry said, around 80 years. This was his grandmother's funnel. They used to can, and it's used the same way. It's metal. It's very nice. I like it a lot. And what I wanted to say about it is, even back 80 years ago, they did canning. But guess what? They didn't have pressure canners. They used water baths. And Larry wanted me to make sure I state that they used water bath, and they made all kinds of different canning, pickles, tomatoes, just a variety of different things. And he's still alive. So he just wanted you guys to know that back then they didn't have pressure canners, and they still were able to can a lot of different varieties of food. They just actually used a water bath canner. They just canned it longer. But this is pretty cool. I like it a lot. And we're going to finish up with the last jar, and then I'm going to show you how to put the pressure canner lid on. Let's fill this up. This delicious homemade stock. And one other thing I wanted to add really quick here. If you guys are interested in learning the recipe that I use for my chicken stock, which is the same recipe that I use for my chicken noodle soup recipe that I have a video for, leave me a message, leave a comment, and I will actually do a video showing you precisely what I use to put in my stock. One of the things that I probably did not say yet is you can use, when you go to make your stock, I use 10 quarts. I boiled my chicken, put in all of my seasonings, but it equaled about 10 quarts of stock. And I still probably am going to have a little bit left over. So you could use 9, you could use 8, or you could just can some of the stock. And that's what I'm going to do with my leftover chicken stock, and that's put some of it in jars so I can have it for later. Okay, now we just took all the bubbles, the air bubbles out of that. We're going to clean this lid off. Make sure there's nothing left on there. And take our lid and ring. Put that on. Put that ring on it and finger tighten. We only have 5 jars in this one this time. Okay, so let me get the lid. If you're using a pressure canner like this one, it has an arrow right here. And you want to line that arrow up with this arrow. That arrow and that one. And then you just simply tighten it. It slides so easily into place. Again, like I said, this is not rocket scientist work. It's really, really simple. And now we're going to get the weight that goes on top. And I'm going to increase the heat to high. And I'm going to give this a chance to start rattling, and then this piece over here will come up when the pressure's up to where it's supposed to be. And once it's up to where it's supposed to be, I will set the timer at 90 minutes. But right now I'm going to set it for 10 minutes because that's about how long it takes for the pressure to get to where it's supposed to be. And my altitude is 1,000 or less, so that's the weight that I use for that. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around so I can show you the end result and give you us a taste test so you can see what it looks like inside the jar. Okay, guys, we're going to take the cans out, the jars. Be careful when you lift the lid off and always turn it this way, away from you, so that the steam will go away from you. Let me put this lid over here. Okay, as you can see, they're all finished and the broth is actually up to the top. I'm going to take these out and place them on a towel. Always remember, put your jars on a towel. Don't put them on your cold table. You don't want to run the risk of cracking your jars. And we have 6 jars in here. I'm going to take them out, and it smells. I can actually smell this. We're going to let them cool. Now remember, when you take these out, you want them to cool for anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. Do not attempt to even take the rings off until at least 12 hours have gone by. And I do not store mine with the rings on. I take the rings off, but remember, not before they are completely cool, and that is 12 to 24 hours. I've got 6 jars in this batch, and I've got 4 more coming. And I'm not sure if I said this or not, but remember, when you put your jars in your pressure canner, make sure that you put in 3 quarts of water. I take one of the quart jars, I fill that 3 times, and I pour that in there so you'll have sufficient enough water. Well, I'm going to also, it won't be right now, of course, that has to sit for 12 to 24 hours. But when this is completely cooled, I'm going to come back and I'm going to open up a jar and we're going to try it out. And I will tell you how it turned out, and I will show you what it looks like. In between that time and now, I'll see you later. Have a good night.